What if I told you RDJ might make a comeback as Iron Man in Iron Man 4, but as Doctor Doom? Imagine a storyline where the movie dives into Doctor Doom's origin, but from another universe where Tony Stark ends up with Doom's armor, or their identities somehow get swapped. It might sound wild, but these kinds of twists have happened in the comics, so it's not completely impossible that we could get an Iron Man 4 setting things up before Avengers Doomsday. Iron Man 4 could take inspiration from a wild storyline in Exiles number 23 by Judd Winnick and Kev Walker, where Tony Stark essentially becomes Doctor Doom. In this alternate universe, Tony's genius comes with a serious lack of empathy, and his hidden psychopathic side comes to light during a war between mutants and humans. True to his style, Tony plays both sides, ultimately using an attack on New York by Victor Von Doom, Latvia's ruler, to justify his own rise to global power. Now here's the twist. Tony betrays and kills Doom as part of his plan, but in the process, he's gravely injured, leaving him stuck in his Iron Man suit for life, just like Doom with his mask. Tony even takes Doom's green cloak and becomes the Iron Monarch, though he doesn't fully adopt the Doctor Doom name. The story ends with the Invisible Woman defeating him and freeing the world from his control. Another possible direction could be Tony's Iron Maniac arc from Marvel Team-Up number 2 by Robert Kirkman and Scott Collins. This version of Tony is essentially Doom in everything but name, and even Deadpool co-creator Rob Liefeld had called it Stark's official first step into Doom territory. Either way, exploring Tony's darker, power-hungry side in Iron Man 4 could make for a fascinating twist on the character we know. In this story, Tony Stark comes from a dimension where things take a dark turn after the Skrull villain Titanus kidnaps the Avengers and drags them to the planet Trellion. The result? A brutal series of events that leave many of his teammates dead. After such devastating losses, Tony's moral compass shatters, and he becomes way more extreme in his methods. So much so that he sees Reed Richards as a threat to humanity and takes him on in a direct fight. What makes this version of Tony so compelling is how closely his armor resembles Doctor Doom's. When he first shows up on Earth 616, even Reed Richards mistakes him for Doom at a glance. Despite the similarities, Tony doesn't fully take on Doom's identity. He sticks with the Iron Man name, but acts nothing like the hero we know. He battles other heroes and warns them about Titanus' arrival, all while embracing a darker, more ruthless side. To make things even wilder, Tony later creates a new suit from a life model decoy of Diamondback. Yes, Steve Rogers' former flame, because why not keep it complicated? Like Doom, this version of Tony also bears severe facial burns, a scar from a battle where he killed Johnny Storm, aka the Human Torch. If Marvel adapted this for Iron Man 4, we could see Tony fully embrace the Doom persona, armor, and maybe even the codename. It would be an epic twist for the MCU, pushing Stark's story in a direction fans would never expect. After all, as Tony once said, it's not about how much we lost, it's about how much we have left. Then there's a version where Tony Stark doesn't just borrow traits from Doctor Doom, he fully becomes him. In What If, in Iron Man Demon in an Armor number 1 by Dave Michelini, Bob Layton, and Graham Nolan, we see an alternate reality where Tony takes on Doom's role completely. In this wild story, Tony confronts his alcoholism, but things spiral out of control when Victor Von Doom swaps bodies with him. Doom seizes Tony's privileged life, while Tony, stuck in Doom's body, gets kicked out of school. Of course, Tony's genius doesn't let him stay down for long. He rises through Latverian society and eventually takes over as ruler, transforming the country into a global powerhouse. When Doom tries to take him down, the two face off in alternate versions of their armor, Tony in a gold and red Doctor Doom suit, and Doom in a silver and gray Iron Man suit. Tony wins the battle, and with his old life ruined by Doom's antics, he decides to fully embrace his new identity as Victor Von Doom, becoming the new Doctor Doom in both name and armor, with a Stark-inspired color twist, of course. This storyline is fascinating because it lets Tony fully commit to being Doctor Doom, but it hinges on there being an original Doom for Tony to replace. Since the MCU usually prefers simpler character arcs, this twist might be a bit too complex for the big screen. On a related note, Tony's turn as a villain in the Superior Iron Man storyline during the Axis event also showed his darker side, but that version was more about personal gain and fame than world dominance. Very different from Doom. If Marvel wanted to explore a darker, Doom-like Tony in the MCU, the ultimate version of Doctor Doom might be a cleaner fit for adaptation. There are a ton of exciting possibilities for Iron Man 4 being an origin story for Doctor Doom before Avengers Doomsday, but honestly, I don't think we'll see Tony Stark fully embrace the Doctor Doom persona in the next Iron Man film. Here's a simple reason: there are just too many superhero movies coming out, and not all of them are guaranteed to hit theaters. Marvel has a lot on its plate, and with so many upcoming projects, especially with the uncertainty about which films will actually make it to the big screen, it's likely they'll prioritize other storylines to keep the momentum going after Avengers Doomsday. That being said, there's still a lot of potential for Doctor Doom in the MCU. One fascinating take is Doom Supreme, aka Doom Above All. This version of Doctor Doom, created by Jason Aaron and Iban Coelho, has defeated all of his world's heroes and transcended his reality to become a multiversal force of evil. He's tried to conquer the entire multiverse, making him one of the MCU's most powerful villains. Given the MCU's current multiverse setup with Kang and the events in Loki, it wouldn't be a stretch to see a version of Doom who operates on a multiversal scale, and if RDJ were to return as Doctor Doom, it's possible he could take on a similar role, even if he's not explicitly called Doom Supreme. On the other hand, there's also some recent chatter from insider RPK, who's been right about a lot of Marvel's future plans. He recently mentioned that there's an open slot for a movie in MCU Phase 6. Spider-Man 4 is confirmed for July 2026, but before this update, we didn't even know there was going to be another Spider-Man film. If Marvel's keeping things under wraps, it's possible they're working on some surprises for fans, maybe even a surprise Doctor Doom reveal. It'll be interesting to see how things unfold, but for now, Iron Man 4 turning into a Doctor Doom origin story seems unlikely. So while an Iron Man 4 where Tony Stark becomes Doctor Doom is a cool idea, it feels a bit unlikely with all the superhero movies coming up. Marvel's juggling a lot right now, and with the multiverse expanding, they might be setting up other villains like Doom Supreme to play a bigger role. Plus, with RPK teasing an open spot in Phase 6 and Spider-Man 4 on the horizon, Marvel's clearly got a lot of secrets up their sleeve. Whatever direction they take, we're in for some serious twists in the MCU, and it's definitely going to keep fans on their toes. So with all these storylines in mind, what do you think Marvel might pull from for Iron Man 4? Could Tony Stark's transformation into Doctor Doom be just around the corner, or will they go in a completely different direction? I'd love to hear your thoughts. And that's a wrap for today's video. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next one. Feel free to drop your suggestions for future videos in the comments below. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to stay up to date on all things Marvel.